Richard, do you think that players might take this a step further and start making free agency decisions based on who is running the team that I may be potentially joining? We've talked about players in the past saying, I don't know if I want to play for that organization because, say, Stephen A., I'm sorry to use your team, but the Jim Dolan team is run in a poor way or that kind of thing. Players making the decision that free agents might not want to go there. What if you took it off the court, though, and basketball decisions? Richard, do you think that players might say, you know what? I don't want to play for Donald Trump's Secretary of Education.
It's already happening when you start looking at what the Atlanta Dream has done, right? And they have been actively campaigning against their owner for the Senate. I believe. And so it's like when you start looking at that and seeing that the players are campaigning against the owner, you start to see that, wait, your views are your views. You are allowed, and that's the beautiful part about this country, you are allowed to vote for whoever you want. You are allowed to have whatever views. But if they don't align with your labor force and the group that ultimately makes you money, then there's going to be an issue. And so before you come and invest in the WNBA, before you invest in the NBA or the NFL, you should have a hard look at, like, hey, do my views align with them? Because what happens if all of a sudden my views don't, and now we have this issue, then you're going to have a growing problem. And I do believe that the players should have a say, not a final say, but they should have some input, because you have to get approval from the NBA if you're going to buy a team. And I think the NBA Players Association should also have a small say in that.
Let's also keep in mind that the black players' voice is stronger than it's ever been. And there's a lot of black money out there now, too. Jay-Z, Puffy, Ice Cube, Robert Smith. Owners have to be careful. They have the power now, but we definitely have the power now. And the newsflash, fans don't come to watch owners. They come to watch players. So if these players want to decide to get with a bunch of black millionaires and some allies to build their own league, that's not too far-fetched. That used to be crazy to think back in the day, but in 2020, that's not too far-fetched. So I think the owners really have to kind of start lining up and walk on thin ice, because there's only a matter of time before the momentum switches, and it's switching right now.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Rachel, very important point to make. If you remember, Charlotte was up for sale. Bob Johnson wanted to become an owner. The competition was Larry Bird. And guess what happened? Larry Bird came with 13 or 14 other members and didn't necessarily have the money. But Bob Johnson had a connection with Jerry Colangelo because of their days at the University of Illinois, if I remember correctly. And Bob Johnson, the former owner for BET, walked up in there and he said, gentlemen, I can appreciate the great Larry Bird, but here is my financial portfolio worth $1.7 billion. Excuse me, last time I checked, this was a business deal. Where do I sign? But it took Jerry Colangelo and his connection to Jerry Colangelo for the NBA Board of Governors to let him into that good old boys club. You now got Michael Jordan there. You got guys like Mark Cuban and others, Fertitta as well, Joe Lacob and others. Those guys can assist in diversifying that ownership group to let somebody else in. Stay tuned. It is possible.
Kevin Garnett.